support for the Genius Insight, and it's a great pleasure to be with everybody today. And I want to welcome Bambi. So glad to have you here. And Barbara. Not sure Barbara's got a good connection there. Barbara, welcome. Betty Lou. Janie, warm welcome to you. Rita, welcome. Steve is here. Welcome. And Suzanne, warm welcome to you. Good to have you along here. All right, Dolores, thanks for letting me know about the sound. And Surya is joining us. Surya, thank you so much for joining us. We've certainly missed having you at the webinars. Okay, let me take care of some business. We are on version 1.9.14, I believe it's 1.9.14. Some of you might have seen the 15. I think we reverted back to 14. So we are on basically 14 as far as the version is concerned. We do have some interesting updates to share with you. So let's actually exit out of here for a moment and let's go to this. You may have noticed that now instead of doing a complete full matrix scan, you can do a mini matrix scan in different areas. So if you've not discovered that yet, what you'll want to do is maybe get inside your Genius program and go ahead and go, say, to the body area. Like you're going to scan areas that have to do with the body, hormones, food sensitivities, etc., and so forth. And in this, then what we're going to do is, this is going to be fun, you guys, so pay close attention to this. I think you're going to like this. Go ahead and touch body right there. Tap on the, oops, something really weird. Okay, that was just the switch there, yeah. So I've actually scanned it already, and what it's done is it's gone ahead and it's scanned everything within the body. Is that right? Yeah, within the body category, which is kind of cool. So let me make a couple of comments here. And you guys go ahead and feel free to ask your questions. Dolores, I just know you've got some good juicy questions for us, and everyone else, I welcome your questions today. Let's see, really getting into fall here in the northern hemisphere, so I hope the weather isn't too bad where you are. All right, so in this body overview, it's going to test everything in the body categories. In other words, it's doing a full sort of mini matrix scan of all of these, okay? And then it's testing them here in the body overview. In the body overview, you can tap it a second time, and it's going to go down to the bottom. Now, I want to talk to you today also about the numbers, the numerical system, and some adjustments that you may want to make in the numerical system. All right. So I can't find the installation guide.pdf for the Genius. Okay. All right, Barbara, good to know. We can certainly get that to you. Last time I talked about that there are two manuals that go with the Genius, and really, Barbara, if you can't find them, you can just send me an email and I can send the PDFs to you, no problem. Okay, so in this numerical system here, I want you to make some adjustments. What I think, Ryan is working on adjusting the algorithm here, because many of you have probably noticed that there's sort of an abundance and perhaps even an overabundance of things that are above 650 and 600. So in other words, when you look at the red and blue zones, they almost seem to be excessive. So if you've ever noticed that it's hard to make sense out of the information with so many things in red and so many things in blue, type me a message in the message box, in the question box there, that you agree with that, or no, you actually find this perfectly acceptable and useful. I'm finding that as Suzanne Covington and I talked about this, it really seems like, and Ryan does agree, that we're going to adjust the algorithm so this becomes a little bit more realistic. In the meantime, you may want to go ahead and only look at items, consider items above 700 or even 750, and then just consider looking at items that are 50 or below. So let's see some of your comments here. Janie says, I agree. Okay, Janie, thank you so much. If anybody else, Dolores, maybe Cheryl, you guys are, and welcome Cheryl from Canada. Thanks for joining us. Bambi says, yes, there are a lot of red. So yeah, so for now, I would encourage you, maybe 750 and above is really like your break-off point, and then 50 and below for now until we get this algorithm adjusted. Because even though it probably is communicating areas that people need to work in, it does sure make it give you a heck of a difficult time trying to really make sense out of the information when you have so many things that are listing as out of balance on the top and so many things that are listing as out of balance on the bottom. Dolores says, I've made those kind of adjustments myself when I decide what to balance. Okay, good. So she's sort of worked with the parameters that are already there and then, sort of done that same thing, probably made some different cutoff points. So good work, Dolores. So you have that in the body, and you also have it in the mind. So you can go to tap on top of mind here, and then you're going to have everything within the mind category is going to be now analyzed from top to bottom. That doesn't look right though, because that only looks like, oh, there we go. I was going to say that only looks like 2 categories. It doesn't look like brain anatomy and neurotransmitters are in there, but let's see. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's keep going down here. This looks really weird. Something just does not look right here. I mean, we do have the neurotransmitters in there. I'm going to have to talk to Ryan about that. Okay, so that is the mind, and then let's look at the biofield. Should be the same thing. So if we tap on biofield, we should get biofield overview. And this is sort of nice because we can exclude the meridians from the total scan by doing maybe the body. And I find the meridians sort of overwhelm the matrix scan. And because there are, I think because there are so many points coming up. In fact, another adjustment would be if maybe we could just scan the meridians instead of all of the points. That's probably an adjustment that we needed to do. So here, this is good information though if you want sort of a meridian and energetic scan. You can see what chakras are coming up. And you can see what meridians are sort of repeating over and over again here. Still seems a little odd to me because we're getting all of the sacred geometry up here. This is the first time I'm looking at it. I didn't know that this upgrade was made until a couple of hours ago. So yeah, it just something about this seems a little bit off, but I don't know what you guys are experiencing. I think it's because there's so many more meridians than chakras. It's because you got all of the points. I think we just needed to do the meridians instead of the individual points. I like this improvement because the entire general overview was always good to see, but then I always go back to the body, mind, and biofield and do them separately. Now I can do a general overview of each of these. It may be helpful. Yeah. And welcome Barry joining us for the first time. Thank you so much for being here. Eli, good to have you along. I want what I was sort of lobbying for, and maybe we'll get it in the future, was just being able to order off the menu for what categories you wanted to analyze. So what I really wanted was like a checklist, and then you could analyze across a matrix that you had deemed important. So if you wanted meridians, chakras, and organs, then you could put those 3 together. Yeah, but I'm glad you find it helpful, Dolores. Very good. I'm happy about that. Our Monday support is time for your questions. So there's no question that's off limits in terms of functionality. There's no question that's too small or too sort of global. Couple other things in terms of the business of the Genius is that Ryan is very close to finishing the offline version of the program. So what we're going to have is we're going to have a fully offline version of the program sometime this week. What does that mean? It means that you can, let's say you don't have a wireless connection in your home. You could go to the coffee shop, you could download the program, and then you can run it completely offline in your home without any Wi-Fi once the offline version is complete. Then when you need to do an update, what I would suggest you go to the coffee shop once a week to make sure that there's if there's an update that you can update. The other thing the other change that was made here that's interesting is when you test all of the libraries at one time, you do see that they come up in a priority order. So they come up from top to bottom. I don't know if you can actually switch this around. That's interesting. Did it just switch it to alphabetical order? What the heck happened there? I don't know what it did. Yeah, it does seem like it switched it to alphabetical order. I didn't, these are all the things Ryan hasn't told me anything about. So I tapped on libraries and it looks like it went into alphabetical order. Have you guys found that as well? Let's go back and try that again. Here's libraries. It's going to then, okay, yeah, they're all in alphabetical order. Wow. Okay, so they're in alphabetical order now. Can we test them from here? No, we have to do the analysis. And so it's going to do from top to bottom. And then if we tap on libraries, I don't know what it was that I did. Was it here? That was so weird. It actually put them in alphabetical order. I don't know what that was. Oh yeah, whatever I did up at the top at libraries, it put them in alphabetical order. And then I accidentally switched them. So, okay, that's what I actually wanted to show you, but I didn't think it happened that way. I thought you had to search for the one that you wanted. So now let's try to do adrenal assessment. Oh, these are still mixed up, I think. Well, that's adrenal assessment brain health. I don't think I had adrenal assessment and brain health together. Let's try adrenal solutions. That is correct. That one's correct. And let's see what comes up here. Okay. You know, I think the other thing that I had been talking to Ryan about, but he just patently disagreed with me, is that the Infinity allowed you to see more items at one time. And to me, if I can have a smaller view and I can take in all of these at once, it really helps me. Now I have to keep scrolling up and down, and maybe it's me, but I have trouble like what was at the top, what was at the bottom, and it's really easier if I can see these all together. So I don't know if you guys agree with that. That was the one thing about the Infinity that was kind of nicer, that these were smaller and then I could see more things together. I don't know why we need so much space between these, but I certainly would like your opinion on that. Okay, I was glad to see that the libraries could be shifted back to alphabetical order, but I noticed that they were in that form. The contents of the panel did not correlate. I think there are some errors here, but I think some of them, oh yeah, well let's see, yeah, I see what you're saying. When you're tapping on them, there's a misfire here, for sure. That's not the, yeah, ooh, what's happening? Maybe the adrenal stress index. Oh yeah, there's still a mishigas here. Okay. And Cheryl says hi to everybody. Cheryl from Canada. She says, I'm keenly interested in offline, and you just answered me. Excellent. Will you advise me when it's available? Cannot access to the library to the message, I am offline. Yeah, that won't be until the full offline version happens. How do the libraries get loaded? So Steve, what you need to do is I have a video on my YouTube channel. So if you'll put in my name, here's my full name, and you go to my YouTube channel, I have a special video for this called How to Move Your Database to the Genius. So that's how you move them from, if you're moving them from the Infinity, that's how you would do it. I'm assuming that that's what you mean. I'm going to show you some ways to create categories today. Eli says, hi, Dr. Ariel, do you know when the Genius app will work offline? Certainly, we're hoping it'll be this week, and it'll come with an upgrade. So you'll get an upgrade and you'll have a new version that will work offline. The way that will work, again, as I said, is that sometimes you're going to have to be online to get the updates. So also, if you want your results to be saved to the cloud, then you're going to have a Wi-Fi connection. Otherwise, they'll just save locally on your device, which is fine, unless you know what happens is you can lose the connection, or you can lose files on your iPad. Okay, it's much easier on the eyes to be able to see things all together. Yep. Steve says, I don't have the Infinity. How do I get the libraries loaded? Oh, I know what you're asking, Steve. Yeah, these are special libraries that I've created. So if you're interested in them, They're available for purchase, and you can get a whole bunch of them. You can get 100 panels for package price. Sorry, I'm just trying to make this a reasonable size here. So email me, Ariel@awakentotalhealth.com, or go onto my website, awakentotalhealth.com, and they're available there. Certainly happy to take your email and help you with those. So awakentotalhealth.com, here's the website, or you can just email me. You can even just go to my website and hit contact us. All comes to the same place. So if you go to my website and you just hit contact us, shoot me an email about the panels. I'd be happy to give you some information about them. Can you copy from the Quantum Infinity, or do you transfer and lose off the QI? No, I have a video about this. It's on my YouTube channel, and you go to Ariel Policano, and it says like how to import your database to the Genius. So that's the video. Okay, coolio. All right, so now to create a panel in general, now this isn't working. Let's see if we can get this to work. All right, for some reason now my reflector is going wonky on me here. All right, let me turn it off for a second, see if I can get it back on. That was my fear, that if I turned it off I wouldn't be able to get it back on. Let's see. It's trying. I can't say I'm too happy with the iOS 10 update. It seems to, I'm assuming somebody who's trying to do corporate sabotage of Apple has created all of these updates, because none are particularly helpful, and they're all just, it's harder to get your phone open, it's harder to do this mirroring. Let's see if we can get it to work. There we go. Okay. It is a crisper view though. Really nice, crisp viewing on this. And so I definitely would think that that's an advantage. Oh yeah, so let's go to our nav bar that's up here at the top right. And if we go to libraries, this is all about creating, oh, that didn't work. This is all about creating your own libraries if you want to do that. Let's try that again. There's the libraries. So the ones that you have there, if you've imported some from me or created them, they'll populate there. And then if you want to create your own, you basically use the plus sign up here. It starts off with a category. You could take a picture of the category, or you could just start typing in the category name. You do that by typing at the right, which could be a little bit confusing. And you could just do something like vitamins. I'm going to say a little bit more here because I think I already have something called vitamins, and it won't create another category. Vitamins, why won't it? It won't skip. It doesn't do spaces. Oh my God. Daily dose. All right. And category description. You have to put in a category description. I don't know why. It's not like you can see it when you have your categories in front of you. Don't understand that. But okay, my vitamin testing. Just do that. Okay. So then we save it. Now we have to go down to it here and find it. Okay, there we go. And so let me show you how to do this. So we should be able to go to items. Before you begin, do you want to add individual items to your category library? Okay, so let's just say vitamin C. Now, does anybody else find that this typing is a little bit sketchy? That I don't know if that's just me, but it doesn't seem to be very easy. I don't know if that's an iPad thing or if it's a program thing. Excuse me. Okay, I totally did that wrong. So let me explain this, and I think this will clear up a lot of confusion. So here's the vitamin category. Now we have to go back. Just absolutely. I asked Ryan, like, why not just recreate what was done in the Infinity? I don't know why I did this differently, but okay, anyway. So we go to vitamins daily dose, and this is what we have to do. We've got the right here. Okay, guys, take some notes. It's ridiculously confusing, so important that you pay attention here. You don't add this manually unless you're going to program frequencies, like the frequency range, and I will be sharing about that as soon as I understand it, very, very soon. It's actually kind of cool. Ryan meant for you to be able to pick your own frequencies and then do a frequency sweep with the program. So as soon as I figure that out, I will share it with you. In the meantime, let's go to import. And this is how you add frequencies even hololinguistically. It doesn't totally make sense to me, but Ryan is telling us that this is the way that it's meant to be. So I'm going to put in vitamin C. All right, and this is what you do. After you enter that vitamin C, it will record it hololinguistically. So you just hit import now. Because there's no imprinter there, because there's no connection, what it will do is it will default to hololinguistics. This is how you enter it. If you think it's cumbersome and you think it's really so much more than you should have to do to enter one item, please send that to Ryan. So let's see if that works. Add the item. So it works. Okay. And then we would have to do it again. So in order to add here, it's no plus sign. Again, anyway, all right, so then you hit import, and then you hit vitamin D. And then you hit import now. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring it in hololinguistically. And that's what it's doing now. It has that generic version of vitamin D in there. And then you simply hit add item. Now, when you go back, you should be able to test this category, but in order to test it, we now have to add it to the client. I don't know if we could have asked for him to create a more cumbersome way of doing this or confusing. I can't imagine there could actually have been something that'd be more cumbersome or confusing, but that's the way it is. So here we can scroll down to, now we have to scroll all the way down to here. And we go vitamins daily dose, and it's going to assign it to the client. Now, when we go back to the libraries, we should be able to go into the libraries and begin the analysis. If we want to, we can just, I think we can use the search bar, or we can get it to go to alphabetical. It's interesting. It must be still scanning it. Yeah, that's why. Okay. So then we can go down to V. If you think that this is cumbersome, I would definitely suggest that you send Ryan a message and tell him that it was a lot easier in the Infinity. So this is a problem because now we don't have that there. It's actually, I don't know where it is. So it's missing. That's not what we just did. So there's still some significant issues here. Okay, so that's the way that you add categories, but what's happening once it gets in here still needs some adjustments. Again, you guys, this is a really good time for you guys to send your questions. I didn't notice the search bar before. That could be helpful for the libraries. Yeah, that's what I thought. Ryan only add the search bar, but he added the alphabetical too. That's awesome. Flor Gomez says, I have made the same test in the Entangled Insights with the difference of 1 or 2 minutes, and I've gotten different results. I don't know how to take that information. It has happened, same thing in response assessment, the very same item. I'm confused. All right, cool. That's actually a great question, and it's just really a biofeedback question. And I was just talking about this very thing with Suzanne Covington the other day, and it's a common thing that comes up in biofeedback. It's actually not a program issue, because if you go back and you check yourself tomorrow, you're going to find that there's a very similar pattern that's coming up. That consistency is pretty solid, but when you're testing your energy, and when you test yourself, every time you scan yourself, you change your energetic field. And so if you're going to test yourself again, even once you have the results, things have changed, even if you haven't balanced anything. Now, if you check yourself right afterwards, then it's going to change again. There's also the concept that it takes about 3 days for you to fully assimilate everything that's gone on in a session. So you may not want to balance yourself more than once every 3 days. If you do a balancing session, like a 30-minute balancing session on yourself, or anywhere from 12 to 30 minutes, so a significant amount of time, you probably don't need to balance yourself again for 3 days, because it takes that long for everything to sort of flush through your system. If you want to balance yourself every day or several times a day, there's nothing wrong with it, but you're not going to really get the stability of results to be able to compare from day to day. So every time you scan yourself, every time you run a frequency, you're significantly changing and shifting the energy field. And that's why you don't get results. What we look at is from scan to scan, usually from week to week, and you'll see very similar patterns coming up. The accuracy of a blood test overall is a surprisingly low percentage. Blood tests are accurate about 12% of the time. And if you tested everybody every day of the week, I guarantee you will get different results every time you test that person. It's an approximation. There are many, many things that can go wrong. So I hope that helps, and that's a really excellent question. To send things to Ryan, you can go rw@quantumhealthapps.com. rw@quantumhealthapps.com. Okay, next question. You can only add a library category to a client before you start any scanning. You can only add a library category to a client before you start any scanning. Janet, there has been some confusion about that, and it seems like in the updates that now you can actually add a library to a client during the scan. That's what I did for myself just now, and I was able to scan that library. So I think Ryan has actually changed that. I have noticed consistencies from session to session with people. Sometimes when I don't have a new voice, imprint, or picture, I will still run a session, and if I have any doubts about whether it's connecting with that person, I can always see the same kinds of trends with the people. Dolores, I totally agree with you. Even if you don't have a new voice and picture and you're checking on someone remotely, sort of asynchronous, you're doing a favor for them and running some energy, yeah, I'll always see the same things too. The same things with their adrenals, the same things with their thyroid, the same things with their immune system. They're fighting off a virus. I definitely do see that consistency over sessions. So thank you for sort of validating, what I'm talking about. Elise says, hi, I'm curious if the sound I hear when doing the voice and the picture is the love hertz. That was the reward in the infinity. Curious if the sound I hear when it's doing the voice and picture is the love hertz. That was the reward in the infinity. That's a Ryan question. I have no idea. I don't know why he would do that. However, perhaps your ear is quite attuned, so I would ask Ryan for that information. Okay, how come in the virus scan I got a bacteria? How come in a virus scan I got a bacteria in the entangled insights screen? So I'm assuming you did the full matrix scan, and I don't know, there might be just, I encouraged Ryan to do that full matrix in the entangled insights, and I'm just wondering if there are just too many items in there to have it be relevant. Let's go into hormones, and let's just go into, well, let's go into maybe infections somewhere here. What have we got? Current infections, okay. So what Floor is saying is that when they go in here and they go to a virus and then scan the virus, then in Entangled Insights, I'm assuming that they did the all here, and it came up with a bacteria on top. Well, It's totally possible that the bacteria is draining the immune system, and that has allowed the way for the virus to come in. It's not unheard of for virus and parasites to live together, and I'm sure virus and bacteria to live together. So it really is a bit of a, it's a bit of an art to interpret this. I would try to get the feeling, if you can, of just feeling very, very skeptical about the results. I would try to maybe put that aside for, um, momentary belief in the whole process. And you may have to sort this out a little bit. I think if you do a full matrix of the entangled insights, it can be hard to interpret the information in a meaningful way. Even though at the beginning I was super supportive, I thought this would result in really, really great insights, I don't know if it's turned out that way. And so I think you have to sort of sort through this and decide what really matches with that person's symptoms and their experience of having the virus. Otherwise, I don't think all this information is that helpful. So I think what you need to really go back and just test the things that you want to see. For example, all the viruses, and check those. I don't think this is gonna. We think we need to go back here to do that. So we have to go back in here, and then check the viruses, virus all, and then scan it. Let's see what comes up. Curious if the scan. She's saying curious if the scan is the sound of the love hurts. Just check in with Ryan. I don't know why I would do that, but that's an interesting thought. And yeah, like I said, your ear might be hearing it right. Dolores says, I like the full matrix in the entangled insights. And Cheryl says that it's actually like it's picking up a miasm. That's an interesting interpretation of the information. So you see what I said is it's really the art. Rather than the immediate knee-jerk reaction, which I totally understand, which is like, man, this thing is a bunch of bunk, is really searching for the a deeper reason why that could be true. And so Cheryl gives a great reason that it's actually the miasmatic cause of the virus is a bacterial miasm. And that's the whole study in and of itself. But there may be other reasons why they're coming up together, and sometimes that really takes the greater knowledge to sort that out. But here you could there's a 67% chance that these viruses are part of what the person is experiencing. That said, sometimes it's not the exact virus, sometimes it's actually a resonance, like it has the same frequency as maybe the virus that they actually have. Maybe they don't have West Nile virus, but they have a virus with a similar frequency. So I have often found that balancing these can be really helpful. In biofeedback, you really can't go wrong. So balancing is always a good thing. So when in doubt, balance it. And you'll be surprised people can sometimes, have big breakthroughs just from doing the balancing. We don't have all the answers about why things come up in biofeedback. Sometimes it's not as obvious as you would think. And then, of course, you have like a stopgap check, which is the progressive insights. So even if all of these were wrong, we want to sort of retest them here and say, okay, of all of these things, what really has meaning? So the polio virus doesn't have a lot of meaning, but the lumpy skin disease seems to have some meaning. There's nothing wrong with just bringing these up and balancing them. There's something about the resonances that person needs, and so that's what the important part is. I like to at least have the option of using the full matrix on the insights. I agree with you, Dolores. What I do is I sift and sort through the items that come up in the full matrix, and there's a lot of things that, quite frankly, I just reject. I think we saw fruit fly on the last, full scan. I'm going to take fruit fly. I'm going to be like, no, nope, there might be something else that just totally just doesn't make sense. I just go, nope, nope. But I might get 10 or 15 items down the matrix and I see something that's really significant, and so that catches my attention. So for people who are really strictly like, I want to know the answers and I want to read the answers at the top and I just want to know the answers, it may be very confusing, but if you can sort of just soften that and say that you're looking for patterns or clues, then that full matrix could be quite helpful. Okay, other questions? I mean, feel free, you guys, to jump right in there and ask any questions that you have. It doesn't have to be what we're talking about. What I wanted to cover today was the update. I wanted to cover the mini matrix scans within the different systems. We did that. I wanted to cover how to create a category. Still not my favorite. I think it's incredibly cumbersome compared to the rapidity that you could create a category in the infinity. That was a really an amazing appeal. So hopefully these things will continue to be improved. And we also need to see some improvement in the customized libraries. So anybody have any story of using the program and any type of a breakthrough or experience? Sandra, if you want to, share anything that you are doing with the Genius that you'd like us to know about. You're certainly, would love to hear from you. Just a reminder of the categories that are in the Entangled Insights. There is a full bacteria category, so you can use bacteria all. There's also the Bach flower essences, so you can do all of the Bach flowers. There's fungus, so you can do all of the fungi. There's also emotions. It's a good one. So if you want to compare anything, why does somebody have a chronic parasite? And you could cross-reference with all the emotions. That's certainly something that you could do. So the Entangled Insights can be helpful, especially if you know those groups of categories to run. Fleur says, FYI, I do believe in the software. My mom has the Infinity. I'm just trying to learn more. I do have to know the answers if a client asks me the questions, and I totally agree with you, Fleur, and I think you're asking excellent questions, and you've asked some of the best questions that we've had today, so thank you for bringing it with those awesome questions. So all of these questions here may be related to why this person has a parasite. So this can be really helpful to maybe balance. There's an 88% correlation. So if we want to take these emotions, maybe the top 5, and then put them down into our tray. One of the things I do like about the main whole tray is we can pop this up. We just hit clear all, and now we can take all of those items out of there. And we could do a little emotional balancing. I definitely recommend doing an emotional balancing. Seriously, are these items not going down in there? Let's see if I close the box, if I have any better. There we go. So it looks like you have to close the box here and bring them all the way down into the tray. That one didn't go in. Let's see. Try it again. There we go. And still not going in. I need a note taker. I might have to hire Dolores to remember all the things I need to tell Ryan that came up in this session, so I can remember to send him feedback. Okay, good. Okay, so we get all of those in there, and then what I wanted to do is then get these down at the bottom in Progressive Insights. So you could do also not going in. You could do an emotional balancing session this way, which is really very powerful. Still not going in. How about like that? Nope. Like that. Okay, so what did I have to do? I had to go down. It's very precise down here. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. And there we go. And there we go. Nope, that one didn't go in. Is anybody else having difficulty in the Entangled Insights getting these items in? So now they're all in. Let me know. It shouldn't be like surgical precision. So then it tells you that the top 3, surprise. That's a weird emotion to have out of balance. Surprise, loathing, and euphoria. It's really hard to know with emotions. I mean, I would just trust the biofeedback. I mean, maybe surprise is because this person wants to avoid any type of risk so much that they won't let themselves be surprised. I mean, who knows? Emotions are sort of like dreams. Like, it's really hard sometimes to interpret them exactly. I thought my aura scan was dull. I balanced it for a minute and turned bright and pretty. Elise, thank you for that. That's awesome. Steve said entangled insights. I may have said progressive insights, maybe I said it wrong. For warts, do you check viruses? Definitely. A wart is a virus. Also with warts and anything you can get on your, in the extremities, you want to also think about checking circulation, and you also want to check the immune system. Dolores says, I don't have specific examples off the top of my head, but some of the people I work with are very sensitive to energy work, and they tell me they feel the genius is very effective when we do sessions. Good, I like that. What about the Bach flower essences? Why are they in the mind screen? Is there any special reason? Yeah, I mean, I think it's mind and emotions. Bach flower essences are very, very, or the precise name is batch, but the Bach flower essences are for the emotions primarily. So I think Ryan put the emotions in the mind, or did you put them in the brain? I think you put them in the mind, right? I guess we have to go back and look at that. Let's see. All right, so the idea was to break these things up so that you could have, it would be easier. I don't know if it's been any easier. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's in the mind. Yeah, I mean, it's not really mental. It's sort of, this is almost like mind emotion, but here's the emotion. So yeah, it's because the Bach flower essences so correlate more with emotional stories more than really, even though they do have physical impacts. Good questions. Sandra here says, I have made breakthroughs in the issues of detox, of long-term buildup of toxins using the Genius that I could not break up with previous programs, since I have lots of inflammation issues causing poor drainage. So just an experience of the Genius. I've made huge breakthroughs in the issues of detox, or in the areas of detox, of long-term buildup of toxins using the Genius that I could not break through with previous programs. Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate it. Sometimes I think you are taking items into the check bar instead of the tray bar. Let's see what I was doing. So let's go back. Body, let's go to minerals. Let's do a mineral scan. All right, let's go to iodine just as an example. Let's just do an everything scan just for time. And let's see what I was doing. And she says, I think you were taking them into the check bar instead of the tray bar. Well, they wouldn't go in there unless I brought them all the way down into the check bar. Yeah, I couldn't seem to get them in unless I dragged them sort of down below the main hole tray. But let me know if anybody else had trouble with that, has trouble dragging the entangled insights. So let's just take some down there. There's that one went in. Yeah, it seemed like I had to drag it all the way down to here. Yeah, I mean, it's a good example. I mean, that didn't go in. So then here and there. So yeah, well, no, Dolores is correct. So just drag it down to the middle right there, and then it goes in, and then you can see that it's successful. Percentages may be average. Gout alone was below 50%. Adding arthritis caused by gout was higher, but arthritis caused by gout alone was over 90%. Yeah, if you're more laser checking in a particular area, you're probably going to have a higher percentage, Steve. So yeah, I think you're right there. So this is also, there just may not be a very direct connection, between iodine and all of these things, and it's hard to, you may want to be more precise, or you're asking if there's a relationship between these two things. So the more that you can make sense of what you're entangling your insight with, you're going to get better results. I don't know, is iodine in here? The only thing is, I just think this database could be so much better. Whatever you look for in the database always seems to not be there. Anyway, so for this, I don't know, emotions maybe? Emotions all. Let's see what comes up here. So emotions to the thyroid. Let's just see what the percentage that comes up is. 95%. 95% chance that these emotions here are really related to that. So that's worth, doing a balancing on. So if you came to this place, you could clear all of those previous things you had balanced. And let's see if I have more luck this time. So you guys, we've got about 12 minutes left, and this is a really good time if you've been too shy to ask a question. If you want to make a comment about the program, you certainly can do that. If you want to give a testimonial of anything that's happened since you've been using the program, even if it's just like, hey, seems like I feel peppier during the day or something, or I just really enjoy using it. We certainly would love to hear that from you. Got a couple of classes that are coming up that are coming out in the newsletter about the immune system, lymphatic system. Got a business class, so you guys, it's the second week of our business class. You can still join us for that. I think if you've ever thought about having your own business or putting your business online, you're going to want to join us for that 4-part business class, and I'll put that in the newsletter. It's probably going to come out first thing tomorrow morning. Can you show again how to put testimonials on your website? Yeah, thanks, Elise. It's great of you to ask that. I appreciate it. So let's go to, hang on one second. Any other questions, you guys? A good time about any issue. If you are an Infinity owner and you've had any type of a disruption of service, you can get in touch with Quantum Life, or we're also handling it on our side. So you can get in touch with admin at quantumhealthapps.com. Hopefully all of you have your Infinities back up and running, but you can use that website if you need to. If you go to my website and you type in the word genius, you can bring up the, all right, let me show you. Thank you again for asking, Elise. I appreciate it. So let me go to the main screen. Let's take this offline for a second. My website is awakentotalhealth.com. If you go in here and you type in the word genius, by the way, you can still get the Genius for $149 now if you have the Infinity. It did go up by $50, but if you know someone who hasn't gotten it yet, they can get it for $149 instead of the $1,100 for people who are buying it new. So go to the new one where they're buying it new, because that's where they're looking. And if you go, all you have to do is click on reviews. And Sandra, thank you for your review. And Christian, if you're watching this from Australia, thank you for your review. We really do need a few more reviews. So if you just click here to write a review, it doesn't have to be the most well-written novel. We really just appreciate it if you put anything on there that you liked about the Genius or you've experienced something positive. It really helps other people. The whole thing today in life is really about reviews online. People are looking to know who else in the community. It's just like Amazon. You order the product that has had the most and the best reviews. It just makes sense, right? Because other people can tell you about the product more than the manufacturer of the product. I think the search is picky because if iodine happens to be there, it's under minerals, iodine, then it won't show up if you just search iodine. I think the search is picky because if iodine happens to be there, but it's under minerals. I didn't know that there was a minerals category in the Entangled Insights. We'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, let's see. It doesn't seem like there's a minerals category in here, is there? There's magnesium. Yeah, I mean, this list could be so much better, but it is what it is. Surya says, once I get a reading and then I want to suggest which detox cleanse to do, shall I put the list in libraries? Yes. You want to put a list of detox cleanses? Absolutely. Yeah, just create it for yourself in the way that we did today. Yeah, and Surya, certainly let us know how you're enjoying it. I look forward to reviewing all the previous sessions to get up to date on the Genius versus the Infinity. Thank you, and thank you, Cheryl, for being a part, and come back again and again. We'll continue to do new topics and talk about the new upgrades. I don't know, there is that category, just an example. I don't fully understand, but that's okay, Dolores. I really appreciate your feedback and the concept um, of what you're saying there. So I think it's just sort of hunt and peck sometimes, trying to figure out what's in the entangled insights. Um, okay. So today, like I said, we talked about you want to make sure you're on the latest update, which is 1.9.14. You can now test in the areas of body, mind, and biofield. And you can test everything that's in the body category separate from everything else if you want to. If you think it's helpful, let Ryan know. If you think it's not helpful, certainly let him know. You can switch that up and you can go to the lowest frequencies by tapping it again. And so this will give you the very lowest frequencies that are in there. And so in body, perfumes and fragrances are affecting, mold is affecting, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, I think there are ways this could be better, but it's also really helpful. Again, you can't really go wrong by taking this and putting this into the main hold tray, right? And you can't go wrong by selecting these because then you can go into progressive insights and you can drill down the information. So that's really helpful. You can never really choose too many things, and it tells you B-bomb about which is, which are the most important here. Okay, so any other questions? We'll be having more updates. Look for the update coming up this week, which will really be about the offline version. Then we're going to work on the algorithm a little bit. Any other questions, you guys? Beatrice, thanks for joining us here today. Appreciate it. And Eric, thanks so much for being here. Anybody else have anything else they want to chime in? Certainly you can email me and send me your questions, and you can send them before class, during the week when you think of them. You're welcome to do that. And so I hear the frequencies with speakers. I need to put the enhanced layering technology to 0. If I hear the frequencies with do I need to put okay, that's a really good question. So let's make that sort of the wrap-up question of the day, or if you have a few more burning questions, send them in now if you can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the nav bar up at the top right. I'm going to go into the frequency, shape, and form. That didn't happen. Let's try that again. Frequency, shape, and form. Okay, so if you do listen through speakers, let's get that question again. Floor asks, if I hear the frequencies with speakers, do I need to put the enhanced layering technology to 0? No, you want it to be up at 100. You want to hear those binaural beats through speakers. So you want to, if I listened with speakers, oh, you mean not with I'm thinking of a headphone. Yeah, then you do want to put it down to 0 because you actually can still listen to it, but it won't have the same effect as a stereo headphone, as listening with headphones. So very good question. Yeah, you probably in that case you would want to turn it down. Is the Entangled Insights a separate category in the library, or how should I find it? Entangled Insights is what used to be called the cross analysis, Sandra. So it's the very same thing as the cross analysis. So that just Ryan renamed it Entangled Insights for the Genius, but it's the same thing. So if you remember what the cross analysis is, that was a something of its own. And if you don't remember, you can certainly email me and I can clarify for you. Okay, so let's wrap it up then, unless there are any other questions. This is Dr. Ariel Policano. I'm a naturopathic doctor in Portland. I'm available for consultations or private trainings with the Genius. A lot of people like to do consultations with me with the Genius. So if you want to do a consultation in conjunction with learning more about the Genius, we can come on to a webinar just like this, you and I. And so if you have a health concern or something you want some insight about, we can do that. Sometimes I have you go get real live lab work. And then we work together. We get the Genius results and we get the lab work results. And then we do a scan and we correlate what's going on in the energy field to what's coming up in the labs. And I've got over a decade of experience of seeing patients, so it can usually help you in many of the different areas of health. Be happy to do that, and just email me if you'd like to get more information. I think there was a final comment here. And Flor says, my English is not great, but I thought your English was great. I totally understood, I think, about 99% of what you were saying. And she says, regards from San Pedro. Now my terrible speaking will come out here. San Pedro Cholula, Puebla, Mexico. So thank you so much, Flor. And even when I just say that out loud, I can feel the sunshine, and we really need it today in Portland. It's so dark and so gloomy, so thanks for bringing the sunshine. I really, really appreciate it. This is free every week to support the community. The recordings are uploaded on my YouTube channel, so please go into YouTube, type in my name, and then subscribe to my YouTube channel because you'll see all of the videos as I upload them. So if I do a special session or something and you miss it, you'll be able to get it in your YouTube feed. It's always my pleasure to work with you in biofeedback and to explain some of the features and things with the Genius. So keep your questions coming and just keep on balancing. Sounds like you guys are doing fantastic. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'm sending you many, many blessings and good wishes for lots of abundance and good things coming into your life. Everybody, have a great week. Take care and be well. Bye-bye for now.